Influencing someone or something can be positive as well as negative. Very similar to impacting, right? Because when we influence someone or something, or when somebody has an influence on us, it also has an outcome and has a specific kind of impact. And I prefer to look at impact and influence in a positive way, because even if it's something negative at the end, there is no negative things. It always depends on your mindset and what you do out of it. Because even something negative that happened in your life, it makes you stronger, makes you a better human. There's always something positive out of it.
Welcome to the Leaders of Influence podcast, the show where leadership is not a title. It's all about influence and impact. Each episode, I sit down with leaders who have built trust, moved teams, and shaped outcomes where it mattered most. No motivational quotes, just the decisions, the habits, and the pressure-tested principles that create real influence. If you want to lead with more clarity, credibility, and care factor, hit follow right now so you don't miss the next conversation. Now, let's get into today's episode. We talk about this amazing topic called influence, and I get just the most amazing and inspiring humans that are willing to come and have a chat to me about this topic. And today, Janine Jacob is a high-performance expert for executives and teams, blending AI-enhanced solutions with soft skills training, mental fitness coaching, and intercultural leadership development. Now, that sounds intriguing. As founder of Full Potential Partners and Podcast Genie, now this is what I really want to talk to Janine about. Janine helps leaders and organizations unlock sustainable peak performance through podcast-powered visibility. Podcast-powered visibility, you heard it first here. Strategic communication and evidence-based coaching. Multilingual. Let's ask Janine soon how many languages Janine speaks, and globally engaged. Janine operates across APEC West and beyond, working with Fortune 500 firms, startups, and universities to build resilience cultures that perform without sacrificing well-being. Geez, wouldn't that be nice? Actually, Janine and I would both be able to work if too many organisations did that already. From her base in Sydney, Australia, she's built a career that spans Germany, China, the United States, France, Australia, and Finland. Is Finland the happiest place on earth? Don't know. We'll ask Janine in a minute. Her work as an intercultural trainer and executive coach centres on bridging cross-cultural gaps, elevating leadership capability, and creating scalable systems for sustained performance. Clients consistently report tangible outcomes, including sales growth, improved internal comms, reduced stress, and the formation of high-performing, geographically diverse teams. Welcome, Janine Jacob. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for having me, Anton. Woohoo!
No, it's my pleasure. Now, Janine, what did we forget? Anything else in that intro that I need to add on?
I don't know where you got it from. It sounds amazing.
Everyone says that, so I always give Deb a shout out. Deb works hard to make sure she gets all the information that she needs so that I can do that intro well and honour the guests that we bring on. So thank you.
Cheers to Deb.
I'm glad. Cheers to Deb. Now, very quickly, first question, Janine Jacob. I say the word influence. You think?
Impact?
Oh, stop it. So I say the word influence, and then if I asked you to define it in a little bit more detail, what would you come up with?
I suddenly have a picture in front of me. I see a world, and we kind of have these lines going to the right, the left, the top, like kind of like spreading everywhere, right? And I think this is what we are nowadays. There's no boundaries, no borders, because it starts with this one stone that you put in the water. It starts with this one person, no matter if you're rich, you're poor, what nationality you are, where you are based, and then it spreads all over the world in positive ways, of like positive mindset, but also in negative ways like COVID.
Absolutely. Yes. Wow. Well said. The ripples of influence and impact.
Well said.
What did you mean by impact when you said impact? What was that link to influence? Pretty please.
I think Influencing someone or something can be positive as well as negative. Very similar to impacting, right? Because when we influence someone or something, or when somebody has an influence on us, it also has an outcome and has a specific kind of impact. And I prefer to look at impact and influence in a positive way, because even if it's something negative at the end, there is no negative things. It always depends on your mindset and what you do out of it. Because even something negative that happened in your life, it makes you stronger, makes you a better human. There's always something positive out of it.
Thank you. Great stuff. Great start to this conversation. There always is. You can always take something away. Reframe from rumination to reframing, as we say, especially around resilience. You use the word resilient cultures. I love that. So, Janine, first of all, how many languages do you speak?
4.5.
What's the half?
Okay, so I'm German, right? So it's German, then it's English. I think in English though. Then French, Mandarin, and a little bit of Russian. Work in progress.
Whoa. Now, just for everyone out there listening, you're probably the first person on the podcast in 137 conversations that I've had so far that speaks 4 languages. Is it easy to learn on a language?
I think it's easier for us Europeans because we grow up like this, right? There is now, you don't even think about it. You only once I started living in the US or coming to Australia, you start to realize, or speaking with British people, you start to realize that it's not common to speak so many languages. You don't think about it. It's kind of like you have to. And then I start to like it. And then I start to have these opportunities to go abroad, to improve it. And back then in school, they would tell you that, yes, your job opportunities, your career growth will be even better if you speak many languages. So you have an extra motivation, right?
Right. Okay. So did you learn more languages in school? Like how many did you learn at school as opposed to in adulthood?
I learned all of them at school or later in university.
Right.
For the Russian part, I don't even know if nowadays this is good or bad to talk about it. I have an Eastern European mom, but she left her past behind her when she moved to Germany, and I was born and raised in Germany. That happened later. So she did not teach me Russian, which I know she has her reasons. I can't blame my mom. But looking at, again, this influential world, if you want to have influence and impact, the more different languages you speak nowadays, the better it is. And if we look at Mandarin, we look at French, Spanish, and let's be honest, Arabic, Russian, whether we look at war times, whether you like the countries or the politics or not, but a language connects people and cultures, and that's how we can make an even bigger impact and have a better influence, for example, towards peace.
Of course. Language connects cultures, of course. And that's how culture has been handed down through the generations, through language, generally through the spoken word, through storytelling. Wow.
Yeah.
Connects societies. Thank you so much, Dean. Now, with all that said, and you've mentioned mum, and maybe mum's the answer to this question, who's had the biggest influence on you over your life, maybe personally and professionally even? Pretty please, who's impacted you the most?
It's probably our situation with my mom. The situations we were in when I was small. So, and then basically my parents got divorced when I was 2. There were other stepdads in their life, but some things happened, and it was, no matter what, it was always my mom and me at the end. So even nowadays, even that I've been living abroad now for 8.5 years, and she still has an influence on me, and she's still a big driver of why I hustle, why I do what I do.
Wow. And what did mum teach you? What influence did mum have on you and on your style, on your character, on your personality, please, Janine?
I think whether my mom would, she probably wouldn't like it that I now say that she's originally born and raised in Russia. She always felt like she didn't really belong in there. But there's a couple of really good things in the culture, like discipline. We come from a military
Oh,
family, so
okay.
discipline is just in our blood. I was about to say, but it's in our blood. So we don't make excuses whether something is hard, whether we get up, like I often get up at 4 o'clock to start working or so. If something is important and we do a lot of good things for other people as well. It does matter if someone needs our help or whatever it is. But yeah, discipline, hard work, good values, being kind to people, it's definitely something that comes from my mom.
Wow.
I'm
Discipline,
not saying my
hard.
dad doesn't have it. Don't get me wrong, right?
No, hard work and values. What about professionally? In your working life, who's the human or the humans who have sort of contributed to this amazing package that is now Janine Jacob, the world-changing leadership guru?
Oh, thank you. I think there's a lot of people in there. Sure, of course, parents in a specific way, but I
Mm,
love to learn. I've always loved to
right.
learn.
Uh-huh.
So I was actually one of the very big people who made an impact is oh, give me 1 second. I'm about to run out of battery. There's something
Okay.
wrong.
All good.
I am so sorry. I don't know what's
All
happening
good.
here. Oh yeah, no. Kind of went
Phew.
out. Sorry.
Phew. All good.
One of the biggest people who made an influence, actually, he made an investment in my life.
Oh.
It was a really, really big dream of mine. I was, since I'm 12 years old, I was dreaming about, oh, look at all these like rich kids in my school. They get to go for a year or half a year to Spain, to the US, to Canada, to Australia while they're in high school. 16 years old, spend a semester abroad, right? I was so dreaming about it. But we couldn't afford it. My stepdad had just committed suicide when I was 14. My mom and I were left and had some lawsuits with his family. So I basically had to grow up fast. And then, like, imagine, out of nowhere, I haven't even applied for scholarship. The scholarship approached me and this person saw my potential and invested in me. So through the waiting list, I still was able to go to the US, live with a local family. So I got into this program, and these 5 months really, really changed my life. Because even later on, when I was an entrepreneur and in China, I had already quit my corporate job, became an entrepreneur, and like the first summer I had as an entrepreneur in Shanghai, everything that I worked the months before, I didn't even know anymore. It didn't work. So I didn't know where to get the food from next month. No, actually in the next few days, or pay the rent next month. And like, for example, because I sounded a bit more like an American instead of a German, within 2 days, I found this English teaching job in Shanghai that saved me basically, right? I was able to eat again, pay my rent. And this goes back to because a person invested in me. And it was so many times on how going back to this experience, how I was living with this American family, how they were good to me, how they taught me, the experiences in high school. And this is also the foundation when you asked about professionalism. When I started to realize, hey, I want to work in this diverse and multicultural corporate organization and yeah, like have like this global career, speak different languages and be surrounded by these different cultures. So it was all kind of like happening in these 5 months when this person had invested in me, that I could basically change my life. And that's why also I believe like someone did something good for me and invested in me. And that's why it's so important for me that I invest in other people. Whether nowadays I have a bit more money that I can maybe put some money in it, but it could literally just be me mentoring someone, me in yeah, coaching somebody, whatever it is, or just like connecting you with my network, that you get an opportunity. Like one of my longest Chinese employees, I gave him an opportunity, although he was working for me, to actually like apply for a job at Bosch or like some corporates in China, because he comes from a very like low class university. His grades aren't really good. He never had a chance to even like get an interview, right? It's something so small, but I really believe in paying it forward. Going back to your theme, influence. That's how I can have an influence, right? And then I also tell these kind of people, look, I did something good for you. Pay it forward one day when you are in a situation, and you don't have to be rich. Like even now, being a student or being a young professional, there's ways how you can pay it forward to other people. And that's the ripple effect, as you mentioned, how we make an
Whoa.
impact.
Whoa. Beautiful answer. Thank you so much for sharing it. I can hear the gratitude in your voice for the person. And
Yeah.
I think not many people that have come on the podcast, 137, maybe this is 138 episodes, have actually used the word invest. So to influence someone, particularly as a leader, is even as a good human, you have to invest something in them. And at the end of the day, you won't get a return on that investment. But well, your only return will be that you feel good, but they'll get the return on the investment. So it's really really an investment of your time, probably your talent or your treasure, really, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
a lovely way to put it, Janine. I like that.
Thank you.
And I love Pay It Forward. Have you seen the movie Pay It Forward?
I think I did a long time ago. If you ask me about the details, I don't think I
No.
can remember, but I think I did.
Beautiful movie. Beautiful movie. Love it. Now, talking about some of those people that you have influenced, Janine. So some of those people that you've paid it forward for, who are you most proud of? And I know, look, I asked this question. Most people say that, I'm very humbled and maybe I haven't, paid it forward to anyone or influenced anyone. But I know that you would have had an impact on someone, whether it's a client, even that particular person you talked about. But who are you most proud of? Who have you influenced sort of during your journey?
I'm not sure if it's most proud of, but one of these, the first person that came up in my mind, it's actually very random. So you have to know, I quit my safe corporate job, 7 years at HP, and I come from the IT, right? I was living in China just to study there for 2 semesters while still working for HP Germany, right? And I quit this safe job to make an impact because I wanted to build up this happiness consulting in China. Why? Because coaches, trainers, happiness consulting companies, they exist a lot in the US. They exist in Germany already like 10 years ago. They don't need people like me in Germany or in the US when it comes to making an impact. So you can really see like making an impact is very important for me. I'm driven by that, not just by money by itself. So a side project I started was called Monday Morning Motivation. For 6 years, I was running this community. It was about every Monday morning at 7 a.m. China time, we had a free webinar. And this started before COVID even, because I just wanted people to have a positive start in a new day and week, because the way how you start your morning, the rest of the day, basically, it will be influenced, right? And I remember I was dancing this one night in a club in Shenzhen. I was living in Shanghai, but I was visiting Shenzhen, close to Hong Kong in the south. And this random man came up and he was like, hey, I have your WeChat. I'm in your community, in your Monday morning motivation community. And if you know a little bit about China, like he was not a Han Chinese. He was not part of the majority. He was part of like the Muslim minority from this province called Xinjiang. And he was already having like a few cups, and I don't want to blame it on the alcohol where he opened up, but he was like, Janine, look, I am so grateful to you and what you did at these times because, and now imagine, number one, he's a man. Second, he's Chinese and he's from a Muslim minority in China. And then he was saying, with your community and all the positivity and daily posts and motivation and these calls, you've helped me overcome depression and a lot of anxiety. So this man opening up to me, like, because in China we have the concept of losing face. So like psychological topics, depression, anxiety, and then a man telling you, it could be seen as losing face. But he did tell me this. And, I don't sleep that much. I'm not a role model with this. I hustle and work a lot. Yeah, maybe I'm not a role model with that. But it is worth it if I get to see like these results, because very often a lot of these 6,000 people in my community, they may not have shared the impact I had of like every Monday, 7 o'clock, even during COVID times. But just like this story, and a similar story happened with another man from South America. Haven't been in contact with him for years, but we had each other's social media. He did say exactly the same during the Shanghai lockdown, when the whole city of Shanghai was in lockdown, and I was even COVID positive. My cats nearly got killed. I was supposed to be taken in a quarantine camp, but I continued sharing. I had fever. I was even running trainings for Volkswagen VW in China. But he was like, look, I had salmon. I had food. People like you barely had food and water left. You even were COVID positive. I had this beautiful apartment. I had my girlfriend with me. We even had a balcony, so because nobody could go out. But I was literally thinking about jumping off the balcony. And I was so surprised when he told me that, right? He was in a much better situation, like in terms of like resources, than me, right? And this is not about comparing, but again, him sharing this gives me the energy and like the purpose that what I am doing is actually so meaningful. Whether I go through struggles myself, but I know that probably not just one person in a community, but many people have had an impact of what we did. Sometimes we don't hear it. They may not tell you. But when you really hear it, it's like a booster for the next even years, that you continue doing what you're doing, that you continue staying on your mission, even when it is tough. And now I was lucky. I actually was able to sell that brand, Monday Morning Motivation. And a year later, it's 7 years now. It is still existing, still making an impact. Under Adrian Cahill, and I'm just so grateful and happy, because towards the end I felt a little bit burned out. I was blocked. I didn't know how to develop the community and the business model, but hey, it is still making an impact out there and existing. And again, I'm just so grateful, and it makes me happy, because it was like a second full-time job that I kind of did where I barely get any financial returns.
That is such a good story, Janine.
Thank you.
Love that. I think you've inspired me to actually do something live on Monday mornings now. We were doing them last year. And we used to do it through COVID every day, every work day for 6 months through COVID. Pre-start in the
Amazing.
morning. Start your day. So I get the power of that. Wow.
We have a
That's
lot in
really
common, Anton.
Sorry? We do, I
We
think.
have
I
a
do.
lot
I
in
know.
common.
I know. You've got more overseas clients than I have, so I've got to work on that. When I read your bio, I thought, geez, that's impressive, really
I'd love to
impressive.
have more Australian clients. Let's
Yes,
exchange.
yeah, that's right. Well, I'll connect you and you connect me, maybe, but we'll see we'll see who listens to this. And so talking about leadership, like you do work with leaders all around the world, and so do we. And Janine, what is it that sort of separates, and usually I'd ask for your leadership mantra, but I'm really intrigued instead, what have you seen that separates really strong leaders from leaders that maybe aren't as strong? Like, what are those top traits in 2026 that are going to make someone a great leader?
Let me talk about it was my first and my second boss at Hewlett Packard.
Right.
They were René Schülein and Rainer Drees. They were so empowering, because I got a senior account management position, although I was a junior. It was a new trial that HP Germany did. So they did mentor, coach me. But one of the greatest things that René actually said is, for me as a manager, or I actually call him a leader, it is important that I give you all the resources, all the skills, the coaching, the training, everything that you need, that you later on can do a better job and can take over my position than myself. And he's a man, right? So because we do have, and I would also be able to name people at HP Germany formerly that are the contrary, and they would be afraid, especially once you come too close to the leadership position, where they're afraid of losing a position to you, and especially if you're a woman or you're young or whatever reason, right? But no, he was so empowering. I was 24 years old when I did that job. And or like Rainer, he was saying, you know what, we can discuss it. If you have ideas, if you had feedback, like they empowered me that I can voice it out. Because like even if I'm young, like there's a lot of like ideas and like things that I see with the client that might be good for the client and for us, right? So I was allowed to speak up instead of just being like turned down. So in terms of leadership traits, I think feedback, communication, discussion is important. Sorry, it's not really a trait or like an adjective. But then, yeah, empowerment, a skill. Yes, empowerment. I also think trust and really investing in a resource. I was giving my first training in Australia. I've worked with Australians before, but it was a big bank, but a foreign bank in Australia. And I was really saying, like, you guys are lucky, and I hope you appreciate that this company is still investing in you and is getting face-to-face trainers in the company. And not just one training, but several trainings. Because looking at AI and looking at like how companies are struggling nowadays, one of the first departments they're saving costs is actually like talents, or not the talents, but resources, human resources, and their development, right? So maybe this would be the third one, like development of human resources. I think I have said trust.
Mm-hmm. Trust, empowerment, investment, and development.
Career opportunities. Or like even like developing, like if they see that you are a talent, they don't want to lose you. So if there is no real position for you in the company, then let's create one for you and develop you inside, because we don't want to lose you, because the best people are leaving first, right? But it takes a leader to see and develop you in there, or to have the power or step up for you to his management to do anything it takes to keep you in a company.
Whatever it takes to keep you. I love that. And not only to keep you, but keep you growing, keep you progressing,
Yes.
keep you developing, keep you on a trajectory.
Engaged.
We had a great on this morning, Janine, and that person worked in an organization where a whole range of his peers went on and became CEOs of other sporting organizations. So they were all, it was like this little development pod where everyone was learning to go, for something different. Because, even at HP, for example, you're 24 at that time. Yes, you're on, but at the end of the day, you're still training for something way into the future. You're still, Hewlett Packard gets some benefit, but everyone now benefits from that experience that you got then. And so this is a long-term investment, not short-term.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm very grateful to HP, my managers. I would say I got the company culture was very strong back then, and I got a really good development. It really like positive brainwashing influenced me a lot.
Positive manipulation.
Exactly. On the leader I became, on the company culture that I created within like Full Potential Partners, my company.
I love it. Full potential. Like that. Thank you, Janine. Janine Jacob, that is fantastic. And let's, for all of our Australian viewers and listeners, you said you need more clients in Australia. What do you give us the pitch? Give everyone listening and viewing the Janine Jacob pitch, pretty please.
Uh-oh, now I'm nervous. Unlocking your full potential, whether it's your organizations, teams, or your individual potential. We bring in the right experts to up-level your, oh God, now I got lost. The pressures. Basically anything related to, employee engagement, soft skills, leadership, AI, trainings. We have the right coaches, trainers, consultants for that, especially for multicultural teams. Also, the newest branch is anything related to AI and marketing. For example, we do podcasts done for you. So you can outsource your whole podcast to us, because it's all about branding, visibility, making sure you position yourself as the authority. Yeah, and just like, again, unlocking your full potential with AI. So we also have really great partners and tools and systems you can use for your marketing and sales and automation with AI.
Great stuff. You covered that beautifully. Well put. Now,
If I may add one more thing, though.
of
So
course
I
you can.
became I became a member of this amazing private members club here in Sydney. It's called 33. Yes, you will not find a lot online. It's quite exclusive, but I've really started to understand the power of networking. I knew, but the advantage of some of these exclusive clubs is people are actually screened beforehand, not just if they make a lot of money, but also, are they good people? Can you trust them? Can we do business with them? And I was always thinking, like, I was always hustling, and China didn't have too many role models or people like me on who I wanted to become. And it was so difficult. Like, sometimes you either had to bribe yourself in, which I never did. You needed the right relationships, how to get in. The culture is different. Yes, I did say that word. Yeah, but basically, like, if you can be part of like a really good like private members club and organization, there's already some like hurdle that is taken from you. There's some basic trust there. And the nice thing is you probably have, number one, potential mentors, coaches for yourself who are older, more mature, more experienced. They have overcome the challenges that you are going through, especially as a young entrepreneur, whether it's privately or work-wise. And you probably have the right resources and the expert in different industries that you would need, no matter like for what you need it.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I didn't know there was such a thing, exclusive clubs that were sort of invitation only. And I love that you said not just financial, but being a good human is sort of part of the
Yeah.
inclusion criteria. I think that's really, really cool.
And it
I
goes
love the.
beyond Australia. That's the
Oh,
nice
there you
thing,
go.
right?
Have you heard of the All Blacks, the New Zealand rugby union team? Do you know that team?
I
Okay,
haven't yet.
so the All Blacks are one of the most famous sporting teams on the planet, and they one of the, it might be an ex-All Black or an ex-coach, wrote a book called Legacy, the legacy that the All Blacks have left because they're so successful. And what you just said then sort of reminded me of one of their mottos, the no dickhead policy.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I love it. That's what my colleague also says. We have a no dickhead policy in this club. I had never heard about it before.
I I love it. I think it's so cool. I think, just have that, and your work life's going to be a lot easier if you can surround yourself with great humans, not sort of dickheads. Anyway, Janine Jacob, let me do a quick wrap up of all of the amazing stuff that we have covered off on at 31 minutes. Now, team. Oh, yep, I am. Team, what a great conversation. How cool. Like, from someone who, and actually, before I do that, Janine, I'm podcasting, you're podcasting. The one thing that I'm busting to ask you about for all our listeners and viewers, and especially our entrepreneurial listeners and viewers, why is podcasting so important? You and I understand it, but for anyone out there who's considering it, and we actually get some support with our podcast. So we've got a sort of an editing team that helps us, because I wouldn't be able to put 3 out a week on our, or we were, but it was burning our team out. And so I had to look after our team. Why is podcasting so important?
It's a wonderful sales tool. But at the end, guys, it really goes back to what is your goal, right? Some people, they just want to educate. To be honest, so I'm going to have Anton on my podcast, Business Meets Life. I'm going to get free learning from him without paying him. Sorry, Anton. Thank you for that.
That's right.
Right?
I know.
So, but at the same time, like Anton and I, we actually met in London at the Red Bull racing event half a year ago. And I think we met once or twice in Australia as well. Now, we probably would have never had this kind of conversation if we didn't go on a podcast. So now after this, we probably have a couple of ideas on maybe we can work together. There's someone I can introduce you, or the other way around. We could do business together. Maybe we're going to become the next best friends. Who knows? But it's only now because we have spent the time together. So one of our coaches, JT Fox, that's how we met. This is how he gets all these multimillionaires and billionaires to do business with him. He gets them on a podcast. So instead of saying, hey, Anton, hey, listener, do you want to buy my product, my service? Everyone on LinkedIn, if you reach out to them or via email, is going to say no, right? But if I ask, oh, hey, Anton, I really love what you're doing. You're such a role model. Would you like to speak on my podcast? You build them up. You give them value. And that's why I always give them like access to not just like free promotion to my over 60,000 people follower network, but also like I give them video material. I give them video snippets. I tag them in my own network. I recommend them. Like there's so much value. You want to give. But another reason is it's all about making you look like an expert. And nowadays with AI, a lot of people can create all different kind of content, right? And content is king, and you want to be on all of the different social media platforms. And some people, we're so busy, we run out of ideas. But out of I do up to 50 minutes in my podcast, because from a 50-minute podcast, if I put it in my AI platform, I easily get, no matter how, like 10 to easily 20 clippets, like video snippets I can post on social media. Right? So there's so many amazing reasons on why you need to be podcast. And if somebody tells you, oh, podcast is old school, everyone's doing it, remember why you have started. It could literally just be you want to build up these relationships, maybe do partnerships, sales, you want to learn, you want to brand yourself as the expert. And also people can get to see you more as a more authentic person. I can see that can resonate with you. So that's why if you do it, please turn on your camera, because 55% of communication is visual. So just me using my hands or here my facial expressions tells you a lot if I'm a genuine person or not, if you connect with me or maybe not, compared to just voice, which is 38% of communication.
I love
Thanks for
it.
asking.
Anytime. And then the other 7% is the words that we use. So
Yes.
words, such a small part. And we always keep ours to between 30 and 40 minutes because apparently that is a good listening period for people. And I don't know whether that's right or not, but I think you probably researched it more than I am. You got 60,000 people listening. And if 50 minutes is the right number, maybe I'll make mine a bit longer. But for today, I feel good.
I feel
like
good too.
Cool.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Now, let me just do a quick wrap up. Team, how lucky are we? An amazing leadership coach, an amazing peak performance human who lent into the word impact a lot. Thank you, Janine. That was a beautiful word. I love that. When I asked Janine about influenced, of course, Janine went straight to an image. You know, she said, I can see the picture in my mind at the back in her occipital lobe where we frame up images, which I love for the visual learners out there. What's this picture of influence look like? It's lines, it's connection, and it's positive connection. And from that impact comes an outcome and a positive outcome that we sort of leave other people with. And when I asked Janine about who she was influenced by, obviously Mum come up, and Janine, Janine's obviously had a really, 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 really challenging existence. And it was really nice of Janine to sort of tell us a little bit about that. And, maybe it's for another podcast, but how to be more resilient. I think that's where Janine probably gets a lot of her, I guess, strength from, the resilience that Janine's had to develop through her life, learning to cope and learning to deal with situations. And if you listen to Janine's languaging, it's very resilience-based. It's about putting a positive spin on it. It's about getting a learning from that situation. It's about moving forward. It's about being optimistic, which I love listening to people like that. And then, of course, Janine talked about 6 years of doing a Monday motivation. I love that. I think that's just best ever. And then Janine talked about organisationally and leadership-wise what really turns the dial in 2026. And And Janine referenced how cool HP were, and I might reach out to HP because this is all part of it and say, hey, HP, great work, keep it up. Could I talk to someone on the podcast? But I'll tell you what Janine mentioned were for a leader and a strong leader, it was all about empowerment and yes, feedback and communication, but empowerment, being trusting and being trusted, investing in your resources, developing your humans, providing career opportunities, but keeping, and I want to put a caveat on this, the good humans in your business so that they can thrive for you, but so that they can also, I always say that, organizations set people up to leave really, and so that they can go and shine somewhere else. And Janine still talks about HP and what, she's learnt from there that comes through in Janine's coaching now. So what an amazing podcast guest. Janine and I are going to talk offline in 30 seconds time. Janine, have you got anything? What's the Janine Jacob motivational mantra for all our listeners and viewers for you to leave them with?
Unlocking your full potential. What's that one action you're going to start implementing from today's podcast? Thanks for having me.
Oh, Janine, you're amazing. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for listening to the Leaders of Influence podcast with Anton Guinea. And if this episode gave you even one idea that you can use this week, can you please do me these 3 things? Follow the show so you never miss an amazing leadership conversation. Share this episode with one leader on your team or on another team who you think could benefit from it. And if you want the full framework, the full experience, and to dive deeper, grab the book Leaders of Influence. By the way, that book's been a week on the bestseller list. It is built to help you lead with conviction, earn buy-in faster, and drive execution without having to chase people. If you want to bring leaders of influence into your business, if you want to have a conversation around how you can create leaders of influence, reach out. Let's talk. The links to connect with us are in the show notes. See you on the next episode.